Queen Elizabeth's diary exposes the hidden truth about Princess Diana's death. What if I told you Princess Diana's death wasn't an accident? That the truth has been hiding in Queen Elizabeth's secret diary for 25 years? Today we're revealing shocking claims from the Queen's own writings, entries that expose buried secrets about that night in Paris. The official story says it was a tragic car crash, but the diary tells a darker tale. Missing evidence, secret meetings, and a desperate cover-up to protect the crown. Why did the Queen write, "I failed her" days after Princess Diana died? Who ordered the driver's blood test to be faked? And why did every security camera in the tunnel suddenly stop working? We've dug through decades of clues, hidden documents, leaked reports, and whispers from insiders to connect the dots the world missed. Was Princess Diana's car sabotaged? Did someone in the royal family know too much? This video isn't gossip. It's a breakdown of the Queen's private words and what they mean for Princess Diana's legacy. If you think you know the truth, you don't. Watch every second. By the end, you'll question everything. Number 1. The warning. Let's start here. Princess Diana's relationship with Dodi Fayed wasn't just tabloid gossip. According to the diary, King Charles saw it as a direct threat. In one entry, the Queen writes, King Charles confided she was becoming a liability. Now, liability is a strong word, but Princess Diana was no ordinary ex-royal. She had global influence, a rebellious streak, and a knack for overshadowing the crown. The diary suggests the family feared Princess Diana's new life. She was dating a man with ties to Mohammed Al Fayed, a billionaire. This connection was seen as dangerous to the monarchy. Worse, Dodi wasn't just a fling. Friends say Princess Diana hinted at marriage. For a family obsessed with control, this was a nightmare. A Muslim stepfather to future King William. The Crown's PR team reportedly panicked. But here's the chilling part. The Queen admits, "I never imagined it would escalate like this." Did she underestimate the rage within her own circle? Or was there a plan to silence Princess Diana before she went too far? Let's keep digging. Number 2. A call to restraint. Prince Philip wasn't known for subtlety. The diary claims he pushed to control Princess Diana in every way possible. Her activism, her charity work, even her fashion choices. Philip insisted her humanitarian trips undermined the crown's neutrality, the Queen said. Princess Diana's empathy made the royals look cold, but Philip's anger went deeper. He reportedly called her a publicity addict and accused her of playing the victim. Harsh? Absolutely. But this wasn't just gossip. In 1997, Princess Diana's anti-landmine campaign directly contradicted UK government policy. She was a loose cannon, and Philip wanted her stopped. The diary raises a haunting question. Did someone take his words too literally? We know Philip had allies in intelligence circles. Was Princess Diana's crash a twisted interpretation of restraint? Or did his temper simply fuel a toxic environment where others felt justified to act? Number 3. The paparazzi plan. The paparazzi didn't just follow Princess Diana. They hunted her. But the diary hints this wasn't random chaos. Aides suggested leaking her location to teach her a lesson, the Queen writes. Royal staff allegedly discussed using the press as a weapon. Why? Princess Diana's popularity was a double-edged sword. She drew headlines, but she also controlled them. In 1997, she was negotiating tell-all interviews and planning a bombshell memoir. The Crown couldn't afford more scandals. So did insiders tip off photographers about her Paris trip? The diary says the Queen dismissed the idea, but adds, what if others didn't? We know Princess Diana's driver Henry Paul had paparazzi contacts. Coincidence? Or part of a plan to trap her in a media frenzy with deathly consequences? Number 4. The driver's secret. Henry Paul wasn't just drunk. The diary claims MI6 files link him to pressure from shadowy figures. But by who? The Queen asks. Let's break this down. Paul was the Ritz Hotel's security chief, a man trained to avoid risks. Yet that night he drove recklessly, ignored security protocols, and took a route he knew paparazzi would follow. Even weirder, his blood test showed a lethal mix of alcohol and antidepressants. But toxicology experts later questioned the results. Some samples had preservatives found only in lab-stored blood, suggesting someone switched the evidence. The diary doesn't name names, but it drops clues. MI6 had eyes on Princess Diana. Was Paul a pawn, a patsy, or just a man caught in a game too big for him? Number 5. The unseen car. Seconds before the crash, witnesses swore they saw a mysterious white Fiat Uno sideswipe Princess Diana's Mercedes. Paint chips at the scene matched it. But here's what's wild. French investigators dismissed the car as irrelevant. Why? The diary hints at a cover-up. Why did they ignore its role? Let's get technical. The Fiat wasn't some random bystander. Forensic experts say the collision forced Princess Diana's car into the pillar, but the driver? Never found. Rumor is the car belonged to a paparazzo with MI6 ties. Even weirder, a French medic claimed a man in black fled the scene on foot. Coincidence? Or proof someone wanted that Mercedes to crash? The Queen's diary doesn't answer this, but it raises doubts. If the Fiat was part of a setup, silencing its driver would have been easy. And let's not forget, the royal family had deep connections in France. Diplomats, spies, even friends in high places. Could they have pressured investigators to bury the truth? The diary leaves us hanging, but the questions are louder than ever. Number 6. The lost evidence. The Ritz Hotel had cameras everywhere, except apparently on the night Princess Diana died. The diary calls it too convenient. Security footage vanished overnight. Poof. Gone. No backups, no explanations. Just gone. Here's what we know. Henry Paul, Princess Diana's driver, was caught on tape earlier that night acting strangely. He took calls from unknown numbers and left the hotel abruptly. That footage? Erased. Even the hotel staff logs from that night disappeared. Mohammed Al-Fayed, Dodi's father, accused MI6 of seizing them. Was he paranoid? Maybe. But the diary agrees. This wasn't a coincidence. And get this. In 2004, a retired French detective admitted key evidence was destroyed. By who? He clammed up. The diary doesn't name names, but it's clear someone didn't want us seeing what happened before that car left the Ritz. The question is, who had the power to make evidence vanish? Number 7. Philip's fury. Prince Philip wasn't just Princess Diana's critic. He was her nemesis. The diary quotes him raging, "She's a loose cannon," in front of staff, but this wasn't just hot air. Philip had a reputation for ruthless pragmatism. Former aides say he once suggested exiling Princess Diana to a remote estate, permanently. But here's the kicker. Philip had friends in dark places. As former Navy officer and consort to the Queen, he mingled with intelligence chiefs and military brass. The diary hints he may have emboldened reckless actions against Princess Diana. Did his rants give others permission to act? Let's connect dots. In 1997, Philip hosted a private dinner with MI5's Director General. The topic? National security threats. Coincidentally, Princess Diana's anti-landmine campaign was embarrassing for the UK government. Was she labeled a threat? The diary doesn't say, but it leaves a trail of breadcrumbs. Philip's temper and his influence equal a recipe for disaster. Number 8. The pregnancy rumor. The most explosive claim? That Princess Diana was pregnant with Dodi's child. The diary tiptoes around it. If true, the crown couldn't risk a Muslim heir. Let's unpack this. A royal step-sibling to William and Harry raised in Islam? For a 1,000-year-old Christian monarchy, that's a crisis. But was it true? Princess Diana's closest friends say she wanted another child, but hasn't confirmed a pregnancy. A Paris nurse claimed she performed a test on Princess Diana hours before the crash, but that report vanished. The diary's wording is key. A motive fabricated in shadows. Even a rumor of pregnancy gave the crown reason to act. Think about it. The monarchy survived scandals, but a biracial Muslim heir? That could have shattered public support. The diary doesn't confirm the pregnancy, but it exposes the royals' fear of it. And fear can make people do terrible things. Number 9. King Charles' desperation. King Charles wasn't just jealous. He was terrified. The diary reveals he feared she'd strip him of the throne. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. Post-divorce, Princess Diana was more popular than ever. Her 1995 BBC interview drew 23 million viewers and made King Charles look like a villain. But here's the twist. King Charles wasn't just fighting for his reputation. He was fighting for his future. If Princess Diana kept trashing him publicly, the Queen might have skipped him entirely and named William heir. That's not conspiracy. That's protocol. The crown can leapfrog an unfit heir. The diary suggests King Charles grew paranoid. He allegedly told aides, "She destroyed us all." Did that fear push him to extremes? We know he met with MI6 agents weeks before Princess Diana's death. Routine? Or a man covering his tracks? The diary leaves us wondering, how far would a prince go to save his crown? Number 10. The royal cover-up. Minutes after the crash, the royal family went into lockdown. The diary admits Balmoral was a fortress, phone logs erased, alibis rehearsed. Why? Because Princess Diana's death wasn't just a tragedy. It was a PR nightmare. Let's talk about facts. The Queen waited 5 days to address the public. Why? The diary claims senior aides spent that time crafting a narrative. They scrubbed King Charles' phone records, feeling he'd spoken to shady contacts. They even rehearsed Philip's TV statement to avoid emotional slip-ups. But the smoking gun? A leaked memo from 1997. Ensure all staff accounts align. No deviations. Circle the wagons. The diary's final line says it all. We had to protect the institution. But at what cost? Truth? Justice? Or was the crown's survival worth any sacrifice? Number 11. The mysterious doctor. Princess Diana's Mercedes crashed at 12:23 a.m., but she didn't arrive at the hospital until nearly 2 a.m. Why the delay? The diary points to a shadowy figure. Reports say a private physician intervened first. Let's break this down. Witnesses at the scene claim a doctor appeared minutes after the crash. A man in a suit, not a medic. He allegedly directed first responders, even delaying Princess Diana's transport. Who was he? French authorities never identified him. But the diary hints he was a royal-appointed specialist sent to assess the situation. For what? To ensure Princess Diana didn't survive long enough to speak or tamper with evidence? Here's the kicker. Princess Diana's bodyguard, Trevor Rees-Jones, later said, "I don't remember seeing any doctor." So was this man a ghost? A fixer? Or just a lie to bury the truth? The timeline doesn't add up. Paramedics testified Princess Diana had a pulse at the scene, yet by the time she reached the hospital, she was gone. Coincidence? Or did that mysterious doctor make sure of it? Number 12. Princess Diana's last letter. 10 months before her death, Princess Diana wrote a chilling note. "I'm being followed. My car is tampered with. I fear King Charles wants me dead." The diary confirms the Queen saw it, buried in the archives, but I read it. Guilt haunts me. Let's be clear, this letter exists. It's been leaked for years, but the Crown dismissed it as paranoia. Really? Princess Diana's lawyer confirmed she feared for her life. She even named specific individuals in private meetings. Yet after her death, the letter vanished from official records. The diary's admission is explosive. If the Queen knew Princess Diana felt threatened, why wasn't she protected? Worse, why did the palace call the letter irrelevant during the inquest? Was this proof they knew the danger and did nothing? The Queen's guilt as written speaks volumes. But guilt over what? Ignoring the warning? Or enabling it? Number 13. The blinding flash. Survivors described a blinding flash moments before impact, like a camera bulb or a laser. The diary asks, military-grade technology or a stage accident? Let's get technical. In 1997, the UK military had access to high-intensity strobes used to disorient targets. Coincidence? Maybe. But here's what's wild. A paparazzo at the scene later admitted, "The light wasn't from us. It came from ahead." Another witness swore it was attached to the tunnel wall. So was the crash triggered deliberately? The diary doesn't answer, but it fuels suspicion. If the flash was a weapon, who planted it? MI6? A foreign actor? Or someone within the royal family's inner circle? The question remains, Why has no investigator ever explained this flash? Because they can't, or because they won't. Number 14. The missing bodyguard. Trevor Reese Jones was the crash's sole survivor, but his memories? Gone. The diary claims hypnosis sessions revealed gaps and threats. Let's unpack that. Trevor suffered severe facial injuries, yet he insisted, "I remember nothing after leaving the Ritz." Strange, right? Even stranger, his initial statements conflicted with forensics. He claimed Henry Paul was sober, but toxicology reports said otherwise. Years later, a hypnotist allegedly recovered fragments of Trevor's memory. Men in suits approaching the car, a voice yelling, "Stop them!" But before he could testify, Trevor clammed up. The diary hints he was threatened. Survived the crash, but not the aftermath. So who scared him silent? The royals? The press? Or someone who couldn't afford the truth? Number 15. The French connection. The French investigation was a masterclass in silence. The diary claims, "A gift from our government ensured this cooperation." What does that mean? Let's connect the dots. France initially blamed paparazzi and Henry Paul. Case closed. But key witnesses vanished. Evidence disappeared. Even the judge later admitted, "We were pressured to hurry." Pressure from whom? The UK government gifted France a lucrative defense contract weeks after the crash. Coincidence? Or a quid pro quo to bury the truth? The diary's wording is deliberate. Silenced. Not persuaded. Not convinced. Silenced. Because if French investigators had dug deeper, they might have found threads leading back to the crown. Threads someone severed with cash, threats, or both. The question isn't what they hid, it's who they were protecting. Number 16. The Crown's PR machine. The world saw the royal family mourning Princess Diana, but behind closed doors, the diary spills a brutal truth. We mourned publicly, but privately, relief. The monarchy's survival demanded it. Let's unpack that. Princess Diana's death was a PR disaster, but also a reset button. Here's the thing. Princess Diana's popularity had turned her into a threat. Polls showed 70% of Brits blamed King Charles for the divorce. The Crown's approval ratings were tanking. But after her death, overnight the narrative flipped. The Queen's delayed speech, the flag at half-mast, the tearful crowds, it was all damage control. The diary admits senior aides crafted every second of that grief-stricken facade. But the darkest detail? A leaked memo from Buckingham Palace dated September 1997. Princess Diana's legacy must now serve the crown, not undermine it. Her death was rebranded as a tragic loss for the nation, not a failure of the monarchy. Even her charity work was folded into royal initiatives. The diary doesn't just expose hypocrisy. It reveals a cold, calculated rebirth of the crown's image, and it worked. Number 17. The divorce clause. Princess Diana's 1996 divorce settlement wasn't just about money. Buried in the fine print, a gag order. The diary reveals her settlement included a gag order. Her death ensured those secrets died with her. Let's break this down. Princess Diana was legally barred from discussing King Charles' affairs, Camilla, or sensitive royal matters. But she'd already started hinting at bombshells, like her infamous BBC interview where she said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage." The crown feared she'd go further. Rumor is she'd drafted a memoir exposing everything from tax scandals to hidden royals. But here's the kicker. The gag order expired in 2000. If Princess Diana had lived, she'd have been free to speak. Her death in 1997? Convenient timing. The diary implies the crown knew her silence was temporary, unless something permanent happened. Coincidence? Or a motive to ensure those secrets never saw daylight? Number 18. The blood sample switch. Henry Paul's toxicology report said he was drunk, but the diary claims the blood wasn't his. Let's get technical. Paul's initial blood sample showed a blood alcohol level 3 times the legal limit. But here's the problem. French law requires 2 samples. The second? Never tested. Forensic experts later found traces of carbon monoxide in the first sample, a gas present in embalmed blood. Wait, embalmed? That means someone switched Henry Paul's blood with a corpse's. Who'd do that? The diary points to MI6. Who ordered the falsification? Even wilder, Paul's colleague swore he was sober that night. A bartender at the Ritz said he'd only had 2 shots. So why fake the report? To blame the crash on a drunk driver and bury deeper questions? The diary's conclusion? A staged narrative to kill the truth with the victims. Number 19. The tunnel cameras. Every CCTV camera in Paris Pont-d'Alma tunnel failed that night. The diary calls it a feat only possible with insider help. Let's be real, cameras don't all crash at once. Engineers later admitted the tunnel system had no technical flaws, so what happened? Rumor is a back door was installed, a remote kill switch. Who'd have that power? French intelligence? MI6? The diary hints at a joint operation, but here's the smoking gun. In 1999, a French technician confessed to receiving a call to disable feeds that night. He refused to name the caller but said they spoke fluent English with a posh accent. No footage means no proof of the Fiat Uno, the flashing light, or the man in black. The diary's take? Silence the eyes, and the truth stays buried. But buried by who? Number 20. My regret. The diary's final entry hits like a gut punch. I failed her. The crown's cold machinery devoured her light. God forgive us. This isn't just guilt. It's an admission of systemic betrayal. The Queen, bound by duty, watched Princess Diana's spark threaten centuries of tradition and did nothing. But let's be clear, this isn't absolution. The diary never says we killed her, but it doesn't have to. By confessing the crown's ruthlessness, the Queen implicates herself. Princess Diana's death saved the monarchy, but at what cost? God forgive us isn't a plea, it's a eulogy for the humanity the crown sacrificed to survive. So what do you think? Was it an accident or a shadow war between a rebel princess and an institution? The diary doesn't give easy answers, but it leaves one truth screaming in the silence. Princess Diana's light was too bright for the crown's darkness, and darkness always fights back. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear exactly where you stand. If this video about the Queen's diary left you questioning everything, smash that like button, share it with someone who needs to see this, and subscribe for more explosive revelations you won't find in history books. One last question. If the royal family did bury the truth, do you think we'll ever get answers? Or will Diana's story remain forever locked in that diary?